All right, shalom, y'all. Shalom. Um, I recently saw a video from Marcus Rogers. He's a YouTube pastor, and I think he has a church also, and he teaches. I watch him from time to time just for news. He kind of stays on top of a lot of news going on out, I guess, in the religious community and everything like that. But it was interesting just listening to his story. And basically, what happened, he got arrested for um, basically disciplining his child. He sounds like from listening to the video, I don't know a whole bunch about him, but it sounds like just from discerning some of the things he said, he has a solid family. He's been there. It sounds like he's a good father, everything like that. Um, he basically the way the story went, the way he said, and I'm kind of summing it up. Um, he was having problems with one of his children. The rest of his children are pretty. He was saying they're pretty solid, but he was having problems with one of his children, and he decided it got to a point where he needed to whoop him, and so he whooped the child, and I guess it left a mark, and somehow I guess DCF or whoever found out, and he had to go to court for it. And he turned himself into court. They told him, "Hey, you're gonna spend the night here in jail, and then tomorrow we're going to you're gonna show up for court, and you'll probably just have to do some parenting classes." Well, what ended up happening, I guess there was a little mix up or whatever. They ended up he I guess they put him in a jail that was uh right there in his county wherever he lives at. Well, somehow they ended up taking him to a jail in downtown Chicago. I guess it's like Vietnam down there in those jails. And he just kind of documents that whole experience, and it was very unpleasant for him, everything like that. That's not what, because in the video I said lessons learned from this arrest. What I'm talking, the thing I want to really, the wisdom I want to put out there is when it comes to disciplining children and this day and age, this time we live in, and really understanding this whole system, this beast system we live in, and what it's doing. Because the way it is now, you basically, and y'all gonna have to let me know in the comments, okay? But from my understanding, you basically not allowed to whoop your children, and now the way the society is today, they teach against it. Um, and you know, the thing I wanted to come on here and really stress is, Satan is after the children. That's who he wants. He knows if he could get them at an early age, for his chances of having them for life are very high. So when it comes to rearing children in this day and age, you have to be. I mean, you're gonna look crazy with some of the stuff you have to do. And I'm gonna tell you, one of the biggest things you have to do with children in this day and age is this internet, man, is social media and all that. Like, you got to, because I heard him say in the video that they have phones, and I mean, I don't know the age to give a child no. I don't think you should give a child no phone or access, uh, unrestricted access to the internet. If they're gonna get it on the internet, it needs to be in a highly monitored way, because social media now. Again, I do a lot of social media work, social media management stuff online, everything. So I kind of stay on the cutting edge with this stuff. And I warned everybody about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, of the algorithm change that was getting ready to hit. It's here now. And I mean, y'all, I'm sure y'all see it, man. The algorithms on these social media platforms are so powerful, and they could grab you so hard. And, and you as a father, you as a parent, you are competing against the influence of social media. Um, and particularly if you if you have your children in the public school system, you're competing against that too. So, and if you take a step back and look at what the public school system, I had my children in it um, for a couple of years. They were going to school. Now they're homeschooled now, but the public school system is there's uh, they're supposed to be there learning academics and stuff like that. They came out with this common core curriculum thing where they make it difficult to learn math and everything else. I remember when my children were going to school, they were I had to when they would come home, I had to teach them the math because they didn't understand it. It was too difficult to learn. But you know what the school did do? They would feed them all types of unhealthy food. I remember uh, I remember times that my daughters they come home throwing up because they eat that nasty crap they serve them there, all that unhealthy. They expose them all this unhealthy food. My children didn't know about candy until they went to the public school system. They uh, they push these holidays down their throat, that are not biblical. And then the biggest thing is they expose them, they socialize them with the other children, but they push it's a place where they can push the beast system's agenda. You know what I'm saying? And the beast system's morals or lack of morals on them. So you have that, and then on top of that, you couple that. It's like a one-two punch with the influence of social media and of what comes with social media is the music. So they're bombarding their mind with this music. I remember some science reports or that they did or researching the effect of music on adolescents' minds on like children from the age like when they're like 10 to like 13, 14, something like that. They were just they did a study, and they showed how it would light up the brain when children of that age versus an adult, maybe in his 30s or something, how the effect music would have on their brain. And when they're young, I mean, their whole brain lights up when the rhythms and the melody and all that hits them, and they showed the influence it has. And it's not a bad thing, but what they've done with the music is weaponized by Satan to really bang on their brain. So you know just expose you know having and at this time we live in now, I mean, you see like social media. I watch social media come around. Like I remember MySpace. I had a MySpace account. I remember everything. I just watched it, and I watched YouTube as it's gotten more and more weaponized, where it can control your attention and what you're focused on and distract you and everything like that. And it's just very powerful the influence it has even on an adult's mind, let alone a child. So, I mean, um, these these are important things that we really need to, parenting today, you gotta be extreme. Like, you almost look insane with the way you gotta maneuver as a parent at this day and age to keep them away from these things. And a lot of people are like, okay, Mike, what are you even talking about? Because some people might not even, you know, understand. But like our children, they're they're homeschooled. Um, they don't have unbridled, unrestricted access to the internet. Sometimes they get on, we'll have them do stuff, but it's closely monitored. They're not allowed to be off to themselves somewhere on some device looking at who knows what. And I'll tell you this, when I see children who have, and I do, and I see children who have unrestricted access to the internet, I keep my children away from them. You know what I'm saying? I don't have them. It's just so crazy out here, and like people don't. I mean, they have no idea, and anything is out there on the internet. I saw this thing. A person was saying the equivalent of having your child, the equivalent of giving your child, whatever age, a phone is like going to Times Square in New York City and telling your children, all right, y'all go have fun. We're going to go in here and eat pizza. And just letting them run around. You don't know where they, and look, you're in the middle of Times Square. And you just let them, you don't know. They might end up some other place. They could take a taxi and go to some other part of the city. Well, it's the equivalent of doing that to them spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not good. And I get it. Hey, well, he's a good child. He's this, he's that. Y'all, look, I be on YouTube, and I looked at a couple things. Like, I like drag racing, so sometimes I look at drag racing. I might look at a video about an Air Force plane or a video about basketball. Some I like watching videos about like athletes like that, because I study the mindset, that strong mindset you have to persevere. Watch stuff about warriors, stuff like that. But I also have a business that we run. Okay, I study a lot about health, almost on a business aspect. So I have certain things that I need to do. Well, the way these social media platforms are now, unless you are really dialed in and focused in, man, this stuff, if you're not like consciously aware and willful about how you're maneuvering on it, this stuff will grab you in and distract you, and you'll be off watching who knows what. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta. It's just, man. It's a different time we live in where the temptation is right there, yelling in your face. And I mean, we have to restructure how we operate. And really operate like nobody else. Move things, do things like nobody else. Like a lot of people like, oh, you don't, your children are teenagers and they don't have cell phones and this, that, and the other. It's just like, shoot, I told my children, yeah, when y'all turn 30, y'all get some cell phones. I be telling them that. But it's just, you got to really understand how dangerous this thing is. And let's just keep it a buck. And so I'm not just beating around the bush. One of the biggest dangers out there with this thing, with social media, is the sexual content. That's the biggest thing. There's a lot of grown men. I tell them, hey, because I'm on TikTok. Okay, I'm on Instagram. I'm on the majority of the platforms. I'm on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm on all those, but there is a big uh, obstacle to getting on them platforms, because when you first get on them, they throw a lot of sexual content at you. And what I have to do, what I do is when I get in there, I flag it and report it. And they immediately, the algorithm learns that, hey, he does not, don't send anything like that over to him, because they want to keep you on the platform. And I understand how the algorithms work and how to deal with them, so that they make sure they don't put that there, because their number one goal is they want to keep you on their platform. So, so as soon as you express, yeah, you come in, it's no big deal, nothing important. So as soon as you express that you don't want to look at that type of content, those mine, okay. Um, they respect it, but everybody doesn't have that type of willpower. Most children, majority of children, in fact, the word tells you to flee youthful lusts. So rearing children, raising children in this day and age it takes a lot. It takes uh, it becomes even more difficult if the family's broken, if everybody isn't on one accord, if they're not in line with this word. Um, Us being a part of Straitway and living near the Straitway hub, so we live about an hour away. We are very involved in that, in the Straitway ministry. Um, we have a lot of Straitway saints. They live around us, so our dealings, our children are in, and this is the important thing. This is the core of this video. The lesson that needs to be learned is you have to. It's not just, hey, I teach my kids the word. I talk to them about the word. Yeah, you're talking to them about the word, but you got social media talking to them, and you got the public school system. They're in there 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day, however long they be there, and get your 1 hour or 2 hours of talking to them about the word is nothing compared to the amount of crap that's getting pumped into them from this society. And I mean, the Bible tells you, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they won't depart. And what do? We send our children to our enemies to raise. So the majority of their time, 5 days a week, is spent in the public school system. You know, however many hours. We'll say 6, 7, 8 hours every single day for 5 days a week. They're in there. They come up out of there. They're on social media for however many hours you got them on that. And then after that, they spend some time with you. But we get ourselves in biblical alignment, and look, it is a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. But you get yourself in biblical alignment and you make the sacrifices, and you homeschool your children. And hey, the woman, this is biblical. This is what the book says. The woman is the chase keeper at home. It's her job. She's a first line teacher at home. It's her job to teach the children and raise them in the ways of the Most High, educate them. And let me tell y'all this, man. The easiest thing for these children to learn is the simplest thing. The easiest thing for them to pick up is math, reading, English. That's simple. In fact, they get older, they could teach it to themselves. But the most difficult thing to learn is the morals, is how to navigate through this, what would you call it? Through this minefield of life. Okay? And I'm talking about landmines, where you could be walking through a field, and if there's landmines in that field, you could step on one, it could blow up, it could destroy you. That's life. And the children need a roadmap to this minefield so they can navigate. Hey, don't step over there. There's one right there. You can step on that and blow yourself up. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that's how it is. Another analogy I give on what life is like to these young children is the wrong way has all these lights on it. It looks like Las Vegas with all these lights flashing and arrows and all this stuff that grabs their attention, their senses, and grabs them and draws them. And all these ways are the wrong way. And these are the arrows pointing to these paths. And then the correct way in all these situations that they run into, the correct way is gray. It's not very obvious. It's small. It's over there in the corner. It don't get their attention. It's not where they would see it. They wouldn't think about it. That's the correct way. Few there be that find it. You see what I'm saying? And it's our job as parents to show them the correct way. Not talk about it, show them. You know what I'm saying? Be the example. Be what they see. And y'all, it don't come easy. It takes sacrifice. You know, and the way this society is set up, more and more, this society is set up to get you to go in the wrong way, to give in and go with the glittery, lights flashing way. Even as an adult, to lead your children that way. Hey, just put them in public school. Both of us could go work and make money and this, and you know, there's a way that seems right to a man, but the end is, you know, is destruction. It's not a good thing, you know. And like I said, the power of this society, if you're not careful, it will drag them in. It'll draw them in and mislead them. And coming back to his situation, you know, one of the things I heard him say, and he didn't go in detail about exactly what happened. I guess he said in more videos he will, but it sounds like maybe, you know, I really can't speculate. But my thing is, I what the way things need to be set up is that they are being exposed to godly things that are going to keep them on that godly path. And you want to eliminate to the highest degree you can things that are going to guide them on the wrong path. Some of these shows that come on and all that stuff like that, you know. And you know, one of the things I found, you know, you feel, because you see, you got a concept of what it is to be, like, the media and the society gives you a concept, an idea of what it is to be a good parent. Oh, you gotta get them toys, and you gotta take them to Disney World all the time, and their childhood has to be the happiest time in their life. And couldn't be further from the truth, man. This need to be the time where they're learning discipline and how to obey instruction and how to do without and not getting spoiled. You're preparing them to go out into this brutally wicked world. So in order to do that, you're going to have to train them up in a certain way. But what the society tells you to do, oh, take them to Disney World. I think my children been to Disney. Now, we live 2 hours from Disney World, okay? And we went to the water park there maybe twice. I think we went to the water park at Disney World twice, and that was it. Oh, buy them toys. I when we first had our children, you know, we bought them some toys, and we noticed they play with it for about a day or two, and then they be playing with a cardboard box more than the toy we had got. And they could, so we ain't getting them no toys. They just play with whatever and do it, you know. And so they didn't have a whole bunch of toys, you know, and they use their imagination. Discipline. what happened with our children is at when they were like, I guess around 4 years old, something like that. I forget how old they were. They were still pretty young. We noticed that they weren't being as obedient. You know, we tell them something and they kind of do it, and then they go back to doing what we told them not to do. And I never forget, because this is before I fully came into the truth and understanding. I talked to this um, Korean dude at my job, and I noticed one of his sons was an engineer, the other one was a pilot. And I was like, well, let me ask him what he did. And he told me, tell them once, whoop them second. And he said it never, uh, always follow through with it. You know, don't ever say I'm gonna whoop you and not do it. You know, they got to know you're gonna tell them once, and they know there's not gonna be a second you telling them. It's gonna be a whooping. And so I implemented that, and it took like maybe a week and a half, and it wasn't too many whoopings after that. You know, it took, when I say it took a week and a half for them to really, for them to understand, hey, he gonna tell me once, whoop me second. And then maybe a couple years after that, they got whoopings, but after that, they were very obedient children. And uh, I had another brother tell me he talked to his father, and his father told him, "Hey, I was whooping y'all before y'all fully knew how to walk." Now, and he would just whoop him with his finger, just go like that, a tap, you know, and he was. They grew up. They. I want to say he said they really didn't get whoopings because they just had this fear and respect and reverence for their father, and they didn't even know where it came from. It was instilled at them at a very, very young age. And both of these brothers grew up, and they are very responsible, highly responsible men, young men. I mean, highly responsible. And it's just a testament to, you know, implementing that at a very young age where they know how to hearken unto a voice, and it gets instilled in them. And we could go through the Bible, and it's all through the Word, about, you know, if you love your children, you'll whoop them. You won't spare the rod. You know, but I'm gonna tell you, in this society, I'm gonna tell you what happens. What I've seen is, and I've heard a lot of parents, particularly a lot of times, is when women are raising children, and they spare the rod, they don't whoop them, and then uh, when the children when the children turn to teenagers, and they begin to, and they beginning to get that independent mind, they start getting real rebellious, and then they try to whoop them. And I heard about somebody breaking their hand trying to whoop their child or discipline their child. They broke their hand trying to do it. All types of stuff, you know. And by the time, you know, children become teenagers, they their bodies are, they ain't got child bodies no more. That pain don't hurt that much. I know me, when I was a teenager, I remember when I had I was like, I don't know, by the time I was like 13 or 12 or 13, man, me and the boys that I would hang out with, man, we be going hard to the body, punching each other, wrestling, playing football, basketball, doing all this stuff. And my mother tried to whoop me, and she was like, "You make me sick." She trying to whoop me. She breathing hard, and I'm standing there like, "Okay, ma." I won't do it. I'm a grown ass man basically. You know, and it just don't hit the same way. So, um, like I said, it's about you got to get on this thing when they're young. It's it ain't that childhood ain't about like you be thinking, oh, the childhood need to be this dream and they should never experience pain. They should never cry and all bull crap. And that childhood need to be basic training. You know, the earlier the better. You could instill it, and then the rest, like, because if you instill it at a very young age, the rest of their childhood and the rest of your par- parenting is gonna be very easy and enjoyable. You know, I know Madison and Samantha. By the time they were like 8 and 9 years old and 10, they started hitting all that. I mean, they were responsible young children. You could, hey, go get this. Hey, go do that. They could cook meals and make breakfast and very responsible. And if they forgot, absent-minded about doing something, hey, make sure you do this. They were able to follow instruction and be obedient. You know, and what it's about is beating them curses out of Israel, or disciplining or whipping those curses out of Israel. Because Israel, as a people, is very rebellious, disobedient people that have a hard time following instructions. And you don't want to be, in the Ten Commandments talks about visiting the sins of the parents upon the third and fourth generation. Well, them curses stop here. We gotta break these curses. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about in regards to just the lessons you could learn from the arrest that happened with Marcus Rogers there. I just listened to it and it's like, you know, most people who are out here, they're caught up in the deception of this society, you know, and it's hard to see what the solution and what the answer is. But it is in the word. It tells you to come out from among them, be ye separate, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. So we got to begin making moves to come out of this society, and to the best of our ability with what we have in place at that time. Get your children out of the public school system. Come out from among them. That'd be step one. Get your women off these jobs so they're not working around these people. Come together with like-minded brothers and sisters. Get on community. Live communally. Live set apart. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking this because it sounds good. It's something that I'm doing, and some of these things I'm in the process of doing, and we have plenty of examples of people who have done it, and we see the difference. You know. Otherwise, if you keep your children in the school system, give them phones and these devices to access the internet, you're not going to win. There's no amount of teaching that's going to beat the influence that their school system and their social media and their society has. You're fighting a losing battle, So anyway, with that said, y'all, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm Michael Israel. Shalom.